Commander Marcus Chen had seen his fair share of bizarre situations during his 15 years exploring the Outer Rim territories, but nothing quite prepared him for the sight of a palm-sized alien attempting to use his shoulder as a chair. The creature, who had introduced herself as Elsa through the universal translator, belonged to the Vixari species, known throughout the galaxy for their diminutive stature and oversized egos. Standing barely 4 inches tall with iridescent blue skin and gossamer wings that shimmered like oil on water, Elsa had somehow convinced herself that humans were nothing more than convenient furniture. "Excuse me," Marcus said, carefully lifting his hand toward his shoulder where Elsa had made herself comfortable, her tiny legs dangling over his collarbone. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" Elsa's melodic voice chimed through the translator, carrying an unmistakable tone of superiority. "Sitting, obviously. Your species exists to serve as living chairs for superior beings like myself. Surely you knew this when you landed on our planet." Marcus exchanged glances with his crewmate Halen, whose dark eyes sparkled with barely contained amusement. The tall, lanky engineer had always found humor in the most unexpected places, and this situation was no exception. "Actually," Helen interjected, stepping forward with a grin, "I think there might be some confusion here. Humans aren't exactly known for being furniture." Elsa scoffed, a sound like tiny wind chimes in a breeze. "Nonsense. My grandmother told me stories of the giants who would come from the sky, bending to our will and serving our every need. You're clearly those giants." Marcus felt a familiar stirring in his chest, that peculiar mixture of pride and protectiveness that seemed hardwired into every human who ventured into space. It was the same feeling that had driven humanity to thrive in environments that would kill most other species, to solve problems with duct tape and stubbornness, and to somehow turn every impossible situation into merely improbable. "Your grandmother's stories might have gotten a few details mixed up," Marcus said gently, though his voice carried an edge of steel that made several nearby Vixari flutter their wings nervously. "Humans don't serve. We protect." What happened next would become legend among the Vixari for generations to come. A deep rumble echoed across the crystalline landscape of the Vixari homeworld. The ground beneath their feet began to vibrate, and the delicate structures of the alien city started to resonate with an ominous harmonic frequency. Marcus's enhanced hearing caught it first, the distinctive whine of Kreneth war cruisers descending through the atmosphere. The Kreneth were the galaxy's apex predators, a species of reptilian warriors who viewed smaller civilizations as nothing more than resource opportunities. Their ships were already visible as dark specks against the lavender sky, growing larger by the second. Elsa's confident demeanor evaporated instantly. Her tiny hands gripped Marcus's uniform as her wings began to tremble. What is that sound?" "That?" Marcus said, his expression hardening into something that would have made a Kreneth commander think twice is why humans don't serve. "Helen, how long do we have?" Helen was already scanning the incoming ships with his portable sensor array. 12 minutes until they're in firing range. "Marcus, there are millions of Vixari in this city alone, and their technology is centuries behind military-grade weapons. The tiny alien civilization had built their society around art, music, and philosophy. They had no weapons, no shields, no means of defending themselves against the approaching nightmare. In any rational scenario, they were already dead. But humans," Marcus reflected, as he felt that familiar surge of stubborn determination, had never been accused of being particularly rational. "Elsa," he said, his voice gentle despite the approaching danger, "I need you to get every Vixari into the deepest, strongest buildings you have. Can you do that?" The tiny alien nodded, her earlier arrogance replaced by desperate hope. "But what can you possibly do against war cruisers? There are only 2 of you." Marcus smiled, an expression that would have terrified the Kreneth if they could have seen it. "That's where you're wrong, little one. There aren't just 2 of us." He activated his comm unit with a gesture that seemed casual, but carried the weight of everything humanity had built among the stars. "This is Commander Chen to all human vessels in the sector. We have a Code 7 situation on Vixari Prime. Indigenous population under imminent threat from Kreneth raiders. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Voices crackled through the comm from dozens of ships, merchants, explorers, researchers, even a few military vessels that happened to be passing through. Chen, this is Captain Rodriguez on the cargo hauler Persistent. We're 20 minutes out and loaded for Bear. New Horizon here, Commander. We've got a full Marine complement and some very angry engineers. Mining vessel Rockbreaker reporting. Our plasma cutters might not be military grade, but they'll sure as hell ruin someone's day. Helen was grinning now, his fingers dancing over his equipment as he began coordinating the impromptu fleet. Marcus, I'm showing 47 human vessels converging on our position. The Kreneth are about to learn a very important lesson about picking fights. Elsa stared up at Marcus with an expression of wonder that transcended species barriers. You called them. They're all coming. For us. That's what humans do, Marcus said simply. When someone threatens innocence, we don't calculate odds or measure profit margins. We show up. The battle that followed lasted 3 hours and became the stuff of galactic legend. The Kreneth had expected to face a defenseless civilization, and instead found themselves surrounded by humans who had turned mining equipment into weapons, cargo haulers into battle cruisers, and sheer bloody-minded determination into an unbreakable shield around the Vixari homeworld. When the smoke cleared and the surviving Kreneth ships limped away into hyperspace, Elsa was still perched on Marcus's shoulder. But now she looked at him with something approaching reverence. I think, she said quietly, my grandmother's stories were wrong about humans. Marcus chuckled, exhaustion and adrenaline making him philosophical. What do you think humans actually are, then? Elsa was quiet for a long moment, watching as human ships coordinated rescue efforts and began repairs on damaged Vixari structures without being asked. Finally, she spoke. You're not furniture, she said with certainty. You're guardians. And in that moment, as the tiny alien settled more comfortably on his shoulder, not as a throne, but as a friend seeking protection, Marcus felt that familiar surge of human pride. Not because they had won, but because they had chosen to stand when standing mattered most.